The NBA is having a massive youth movement right now. Young players are more valuable than they've ever been, and rightfully so. Young players are the most talented they've ever been and most NBA ready they've ever been. There are many teams in the league, such as the Detroit Pistons, Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic, Oklahoma City Thunder, and so on, who are tanking or were tanking for a solid young core. There are many other teams who already have great young cores, and today I want to talk about one of the three best young cores in the league, and then talk about their off-season moves and what you should expect from this team in the 2021-22 season.
They be like, what? Can you teach me how to dirty? You know why? Cause all the bitches love it. All I need is a beat that's super bumpin'. And for you to back it up and dump it.
Leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I make regular NBA content, and if this interests you, do subscribe to the channel. Moving on to the video. In my opinion, the three best young cores in the league right now are the Atlanta Hawks, the Boston Celtics, and the New Orleans Pelicans. Houston, Detroit, and Orlando were contenders too, but I didn't want to talk about them before seeing their rookies in NBA action. The Hornets, the Phoenix Suns, and the Memphis Grizzlies were all honorable mentions. In today's video, let's start off by talking about the third best young core in the league, the New Orleans Pelicans. I'll first talk about the young core, then look at them as a team as a whole, and then lay out my expectations for this team this upcoming year. The New Orleans Pelicans are headlined by the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, Zion Williamson. Zion is, in my opinion, a top 5 asset in the league. He averaged 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, while being surrounded by a cast which did not cater to his playing style whatsoever. This was one of the most efficient seasons in NBA history, and him being 8th in the league in scoring in one of the most offensively talented leagues just makes it so much more impressive. Though he averaged only 4 assists, he's a very good playmaker just by the virtue of his ridiculous rim pressure, which gives him a lot of scoring gravity. Zion made a lot of dump-off passes to Steven Adams and kick-out passes to spot-up shooters outside, which showed potential and further improvement for him in the playmaking department. He also started being the facilitator of the offense as the season progressed and brought up the ball to like half court and made set plays. That's very impressive for a power forward, and though he isn't as fast and tall as Giannis is, it was quite young Giannis as what he did. This year, he has 4 players around him who can hit threes at an average or above average clip, which will make his rim pressure gravity so much more effective. The potential of Zion Williamson cannot be determined. Averaging 27 points on 61% from the field over an entire season in just your sophomore year and your first proper year is ridiculous. Zion is not nearly the defensive monster he was at Duke, and to be honest, he isn't even the rebounding monster he was at Duke. I understand it's the NBA and it's a complete different scenery, but these are two things I expected him to carry on from college. He did get better in both these departments as the year progressed, and I think that shows a scope for improvement in the upcoming years. And at the end of the day, that's how you rank young cores, how good they are right now, and how high their ceiling is, and how achievable it is. And in my opinion, Zion Williamson's ceiling is as high and as ridiculously high as it seems. I believe Zion has the potential to reach it, and I've always been a big Zion guy, so I really have high hopes for him and his potential. He's a top 5 under 25 player in the league right now, and both the teams I have ranked above the New Orleans Pelicans have top 5 under 25 players too, and I believe this is a big reason why I have the Pelicans so high even after a slightly disappointing campaign the last year. Moving on, the second guy next to Zion is another player who made an All-Star game very recently and had an underrated All-Star level season last year, Brandon Ingram. Ingram is one of the best young second options in the league, and he also has potential to be a 30-point guy as the first option on the right team around him, in my opinion. Offensively, Brandon Ingram has very little weaknesses. He's one of the best shooters in the league, shooting 38% from 3 last year and having a true shooting percentage of 58%. He makes many tough shots and takes many tough shots. He's their go-to perimeter guy in the clutch, and he does a very decent job in these situations. The Pelicans did take away the ball from Zion a little too much in the clutch last year, but Brandon Ingram is still an alright clutch player. Ingram has the potential to be one of the best offensive players in the league, and with his continuously ascending playmaking and pick and roll ball handling, it will allow him and Zion to run more plays together. And that might be the only flaw in this team, the iffy fit between Zion and Ingram. But with both of them being very young and ridiculously good players already, it might not be such a massive problem. After all, Ben Simmons and Embiid did have a lot of success together, even if they didn't have the best of fits together. And I believe the Ingram Zion fit is better than the Simmons and Embiid fit. And Ingram is just as good as Ben Simmons, and Zion has the potential to be just as good as Joel Embiid. So this kind of implies that both Zion and Ingram are destined to have some kind of success together in the league with a decent team around them. Brandon Ingram, also similar to Zion, is not a very great defender right now. What is slightly concerning is that Ingram was actually a good defender on the Lakers and he steadily deteriorated on that end with the Pelicans. His offense steadily ascended during the same period, but his deterioration in defense shows one of two things. Either he can get back to the defensive form he was with Los Angeles, or that he just deteriorates on that end consistently. Nonetheless, Brandon Ingram is an exceptional player to have as the second best player on your team, and having him as the second best player on the young core does make the Pelicans one of the best young teams in the league. The Pelicans still do have quite a few solid young players, and they have one player who I believe is an X factor. So some more young guys on the Pelicans are Kira Lewis Jr., Jackson Hayes, and Trey Murphy. Kira Lewis Jr. is a great point guard alongside Zion. He's a great playmaking point guard and a classic pick and roll guy. This is a perfect fit next to Zion, and as Zion progresses and learns how to be a better screener and dominant roller, Kira Lewis is a great point guard next to him. He should improve his jump shot by a lot as time progresses too, and he should be able to play off the ball when Zion is doing his thing, just like how Zion is going to improve and do stuff when the ball is in Kira Lewis's hand. Jackson Hayes is a center who is similar to the center the Pelicans just gave up in Steven Adams. The Zion and Hayes pairing was one of the worst for the Pelicans last year, and that is not a very positive sign for the Pelicans. Hayes should be a good rim protector and an offensive roller when Zion isn't on the court. Though Hayes and Zion did not have a great fit last year, I still do believe they have some potential together, and as weird as it may seem, I wouldn't mind seeing a pick and roll between the both of them. I hoped last year to get a Steven Adams Zion Williamson pick and roll just to see how it works, but well, that didn't happen. The last player who is a part of this young core is the rookie Trey Murphy. I couldn't really gather up much info on him, and I'm not going to act like I know much about him, so let's just move on. But what really makes me very high on this young core and gives them an edge over some of the other teams which I put before them is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Nickeil is one of the best candidates for most improved player in the league next season. He has great isolation potential due to his speed and ascending shot making ability. He's great at driving to the basket too, with multiple great finishes up his sleeve such as a floater, spin moves, and euro steps. He should be replacing Lonzo Ball for the Pelicans this year, and I hope they start him in the starting lineup at either the 1 or the 2. He's more of a scoring guard, and a pick and roll between him and Zion is going to ruin opposing offenses. His shot still needs to get more consistent, and his off the ball movement and spot up 3-point shooting need to improve too. What really intrigues me is his isolation ability, which might allow him to lead the second unit on the Pelicans and even take over sometimes if required. This makes him a very intriguing young player and an X factor for this Pelicans team in my opinion, and this team and this core is the third best young core in the league. Moving on to the final part of this video, let's talk about their two major off-season moves and what I expect the New Orleans Pelicans to be this year. Devonte Graham is a good signing. They did lose Lonzo Ball and in a way traded down in levels of players, but Devonte is a good fit next to Zion. They're hoping that the ascension of Kira Lewis Jr. and Nickeil Alexander-Walker can make up for whatever Graham can't. Graham provides the Pelicans with a great shooting and a great perimeter scoring guard which they can use. He's a defensive liability, which is a problem as both Ingram and Zion aren't the best defensive players in the world yet either, but offensively he's as good of a fit as you get. He had a drop last year with him trying to figure out what his role really is in Charlotte, but now he has a very set role, and that is shooting the basketball. I'm sure he'll do a great job with this, and that's all the Pelicans need. Moving on to the second major offseason move, Jonas Valanciunas. Valanciunas is a good shooter for a big man. I think people are slightly overrating his shooting capability since the trade, calling him a stretch big and stuff, but he's a decent shooter. Nothing extraordinary, a decent shooter. He has a great post game, which I don't know if he'll be able to be showcased alongside Zion, but the minutes he plays without Zion, he should take advantage of that. He also provides them with another great pick and roller, and this allows the Pelican guard to do their thing, as the pick and roll is really going to help Graham, Nickeil Alexander-Walker get their buckets and help Kira Lewis Jr. find Jonas Valanciunas for his buckets. Jonas is one of the best centers in the league right now, and though he isn't like an exceptional defender, he's one of the better fits next to Zion at the 5 position in the league. This itself makes it a good deal, and hopefully it plays out for them. Finally, my expectations for this team, the play-in tournament. The problem with that is, unless the Pelicans make it past the play-in tournament and then make some noise in the playoffs, things might get messy. Zion has made it clear that he wants to win, and he really doesn't mind playing outside New Orleans. Have the Pelicans done enough to keep their franchise star happy? I don't know. But the question also arises, what more could they have done? They did the best they possibly could. If that is not enough, it is quite alarming. They have high expectations for the leaps Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Brandon Ingram are hopefully going to take this year, and I hope it pays off and both of them live up to their ceilings and give this team a high chance for a successful future. This is the best possible thing which can happen, which might help cool down the Zion situation. Nonetheless, the Pelicans have potential to be a 5th or 6th seed depending on how well their front line of stars plays and how well their new coach can lead them defensively and offensively. They'll also need a little luck, but this might be their secret. But realistically, my expectations for this team is the play-in tournament. With that, we have come to the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Check out my other off-season content and look out for the video about the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics coming in the upcoming days. And of course, like and subscribe.